What's up, Zox fam? Now, there's a lot of things that I think makes Wuthering Waves a great game and something that I think is going to have longevity in the space. But I've been seeing a lot of takes that have been painting this idea that Wuthering Waves is a game that doesn't have any layers, it is not interesting, it's boring, and more or less that it's just a Genshin clone. Now, for me personally, it's not anything that really bothers me, but I think the thing that does bother me is when I can clearly tell there is a lack of investment with a lot of these statements being made and just understanding purely of what you're able to even do in this game. So we're going to take the time to actually dive into some of this because I think that this is actually really important, especially for those that are under the impression that this game has no layers and that this is just a walk in the park fest, right? So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Now, one of the first things that I'm noticing is just honestly ripping the band-aid off. People just don't know how to play their characters, and that is just the honest truth. So let's actually take a look at one character for a second named Yuan Wu. Now, Yuan Wu is going to have a basic attack like every other character, but what's classified under a basic attack? So if we take a look at a basic attack, 5 consecutive hits, right? Then you have that dealing electro damage. You have the heavy attack, which consumes stamina, dealing electric damage. Then you have mid-air attack, doing electro damage and consuming stamina. And then lastly, you have an evasion attack, which allows you to successfully dodge for a certain period of time. You're able to use your basic attack, causing, say a Furby class, electro damage, right? Now, the thing is, right, this is just the surface. This isn't even getting deep into anything yet because you still have your resonance skill, you have your fourth circuit, right? And then you also have your resonance liberation and your intro and outro skill. What are we talking about? So let's get into it, right? Let's go into Yuan Wu, and I'm going to just give you guys a basic understanding of him, right? Let's actually change him real quick. Let's put him on the team. So we're going to take Mortefi off. We're going to put Yuan Wu, and then let's go back, right? Because I really want you guys to understand what exactly you're actually seeing and doing, right? Not just even just seeing, but what you're actually doing. So if we go and we look at, this is what most people think that all Yuan Wu is. They think, oh, wow, he's cool. He throws his top hat. He throws down a pillar with his E. Okay, cool. That's fire, crazy, right? Now, the thing about this is that, yes, he is absolutely cool aesthetically, in my opinion. But it is important to actually understand what he's doing. So let's break this down real quick, right? So obviously, you have your normal chain, which ends with that uppercut. Now, the thing is that when you go to say, click, press, and then hold, right? Now you're getting this elbow, boom. That's a heavy, okay? Now, if we go and we say jump in the air, there's the left click, which is just your slam down, right? That mid-air slam down, or you can do a mid-air slam down into a heavy. Look at that, right? That now is combining two different parts of the basic and not just using it singularly, right? Now, here's the next thing. What is the pillar there for, right? So the pillar is going to be allowing you to build this bar above your head. And once that purple icon starts glowing, you're going to see some magic happen, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do my abilities as if I'm fighting someone, right? And you're gonna notice the bar is filling up. Boom, okay, it fills up. Now I'm going to press and hold E. So before I was just placing the E, right? Just placing it. Now I'm going to infuse my power into myself, and that is going to then thus change my chain. Now watch this. Boom, press and hold E. Now we have lightning that's being shot from his hands. You even start seeing other chains start coming into play where he's going to slam into the ground like that. Like there's so much that starts to happen at that point, right? But it's simply the understanding that if you don't, for example, know that you need to press and hold your E, you're completely missing out on that aspect, or what I would say kind of that power up to his kit, which is allowing him to do more damage and to just better perform. And he's not the only character that's like that. Let's talk about Tao Chi, for example. Tao Chi is another one. A lot of people pick her up and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna parry and let things hit me, but there's more to her, right? So you have her regular slashes, right? Regular chain, pretty understand. I feel like that's easy to understand. Now, the other thing is obviously you have the shield, which will allow you to counter. Now, this is usually for what people probably have assumed or have seen, it's just based off of if something hits you, right? And so you would hold it and then you go up and that's your heavy, right? So you could choose to do that for a heavy swing, or you can wait for something to hit you and then you'll go into your parry or your counter slashes. But here's the kicker to her. if you decide that you want to activate those counter slashes early, you can without anything touching you. So if you decide to hold this, right? So if you press and hold the shield, boom, she activates it. And those are her parry slashes. And you can do that at any point, right? So press and hold, boom. Now parry slashes. And these are much faster slashes, and they're going to be way more impactful against the opponent you're fighting. And you can constantly keep doing that without it just being this, I'm just trying to stall and wait for something to hit me. And so these are the different intricacies that you're going to see to a character. Like even with Tao Chi, you could even be a little less aware of like certain openings to maybe even say like you forget to perfect dodge, right? If you press her E, this is allowing her to be able to get these rocks that they are going to be reducing the damage for, if I'm not mistaken, 3 hits, where it's going to be damage reduction happening for those hits that she's taken. And so this is going to be an amazing thing. And this is just not even considering intro, outro skills, where then she's able to give shield that can then carry over to your other teammates. There's so many different elements and aspects to what makes a team tick and what makes it work, right? Now, there's another component, right? Because this is to address the whole, oh my God, there's no elemental reactions like Genshin. This game is garbage because it doesn't have that. I can't believe it. Now, the only thing I would say is that I can say yes, the visuals, I absolutely do like the visuals of Genshin Impact when elemental reactions happen. But to insinuate that there is nothing actually happening or there is no layering is honestly completely false, right? So let's actually go and take a look at our team comp. Now you'll notice that each character has an additional ability that says something. It says time stop, resonant degree release, resonant skill. Let's actually go and take a look at the characters real quick. So we're gonna click on Yuan Wu and we're gonna replace him with Mortefi, sorry. So let's actually do this. And let's go to details. Now, here's the other thing, right? If we take a look at Mortefi and we go to his skill and we click right here, not hard to find, and we go to his outro skill, his rage transposition. Heavy attack damage is increased by 38%. The effect lasts for 14 seconds or the character exits, which is basically when they switch, right? Now, there also is a intro skill. Attack the target causing fusion damage. And this is essentially something that you're going to have happening when he first comes in, right? With the intro skill. And when you swap him out, he then is able to buff heavy attack damage. Now, if we go back, right? And we go to another unit, let's take a look at Tao Chi. Tao Chi's outro skill is resonant skill damage is increased by 38%, and this effect lasts for 14 seconds or when the character exits. Now, the same thing can be said with her intro skill. Attack the target causing havoc damage and gain 3 points of Hua Jun. And the thing about this is that this is going to be essentially her parry coming into play without you having to proc it, without you having to press and hold, and then she gets those additional slashes right off rip to where then she's able to almost instantly go into a parry if you summon her at the right time. Let's look at one more, for example, right? Let's look at Yuan Wu. Yuan Wu, lightning damage, or his outro skill, lightning strike centered on the skill target, causing significant vibration, strength damage to the hit enemies. So this is basically extra damage that's going to be transpiring after you swap him out. Whereas the intro skill, when he comes in, he's basically coming in, basically throwing down his pillar on the target, which one can parry. This is again kind of understanding it's not just a hit that's coming in, but it's a parry chance that you get. And then you're also causing that electro damage. And this is just, again, some of the units. Right? One more, right? Rover. When Rover comes out, she generates a stagnation area on the character that lasts 3 seconds. What does this mean? This means that when you're swapping out of Rover, there's an opportunity for time to freeze just for 3 seconds that allows when that next character to come in, it opens up an even bigger opportunity for them to be able to parry. So these are the things that you have to start kind of looking at when you're compiling your teams and what you're trying to accomplish. Where her intro skill, she performs that lunge attack where she's in the air and she comes down with spectral damage, which again could also be utilized to parry. Now, this is just, again, base knowledge, in my opinion, when we're talking about what you're going to need to understand to actually be able to compile your teams properly and to be able to take advantage of the different skill sets and just things that characters are able to do. And that's one of the luxuries that I think players are going to have with this game compared to games like Genshin Impact, where there isn't anything elementally binding your character necessarily to where they can only be used with lightning characters or they can only be used with wind characters. This is giving you the accessibility to make all your units work with each other if you choose so and into your playstyle. Now, does this mean that there isn't anything that's relevant to attribute, like to having an element? No, there are dungeons in the game that do require you to have a specific element because there is a damage bonus, which I would consider that to be a multiplier increase versus it just being purely you have elemental advantage. Because then there is, for example, the immunities that you have to deal with. So if you are hitting a unit that is immune to fusion and you're a fusion unit, you're doing 0 damage. And actually it's just gonna say immune on the screen. So this is also a thing that is still emphasized. And I feel like the main thing that most people are referring to primarily is the actual the reactions that you might see in the actual world versus, like, you know, for example, when you wet something and then you use Cairo to freeze it, then that's going to, or Cryo to freeze it, that's then going to allow you to get, for example, that elemental reaction there. Or if you use, for example, I think like, I guess it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of what it is. I think it's like water and fire, for example, you get a whole reaction with that, right? So it's just kind of understanding that there is layers to this game, right? And this only can be found, or honestly, I wouldn't even say it takes a lot of time, to be fair. It really is a thing that is going to come down to you really putting in the time to play the game. Now, the other thing is too, is I'm going to show you guys a fight because I don't want you guys to just take my word for it. I want the game to tell you, right? So give me 1 second. Okay, guys, so here we are at Tempest Mephis, the Morning Thunder. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to lock in real quick and I'm going to explain to you guys. Now watch the right side. I'm actually going to try to get this parry real quick right there. Okay, now watch the right side. When it glows, I'm going to use Tao Chi to parry with her swap in, right? And that's because that's her intro skill, right there, right? You see how I just swapped her in and she parried. I didn't do anything extra, right? So now watch this. All right, we're gonna dodge that real quick. Let's swap in with the MC. She comes down with her plunge attack. Now watch this. We're going to do another thing with Tao Chi here. Boom, 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 boom. Parry. That's literally her parry count. See, I've done froze the damn game. Like, that's literally not understanding how to use your characters, right? Now we're going to go with more Teffy. Let's go back to MC. Let's freeze time real quick. Boom. Couple of seconds into a parry. Right? All right, now watch this. We're gonna use the slam down from MC for a parry. Look at that. Look at that. Come on, bro. This is literally understanding your skills. This has nothing to do with like nothing else, right? I'm not the best player on this game and I don't like preach that I am, but I will say if you read your character's kit, look at that. Boom, parry chance, right? Boom, right there. Let's use some of our other abilities. And that's when you get saucy with it, man. Like you start getting saucy with it. You start using your MC to do stuff. You start swapping in and out. You start doing all that stuff once you actually look at that parry. Like, come on, bro. You get saucy with it. And this only comes from actually understanding what your characters are doing, right? And again, there's obviously more layers to this. Like, for example, I just used my E right there to parry, right? And you might not even have realized it. Like, this is just something that comes with the territory, right? When we're playing these types of games. Like, look at that slow-mo, and that's because of the outro, right? That's coming from MC. So you have to be very aware of how your characters operate. Let me see if I can get my R to parry here. Oh, nope, you just killed. But yeah, just simply put, guys, you see how there was like literally no struggle there for me? it was because I actually understood, one, the mechanics to the boss I was fighting. So I understand the windows of time when the boss is going to be parrying me. But then two, I actually understand fundamentally what exactly are my characters doing. And I think that that is one of the big things that I'm noticing a lot of people giving opinions on the combat, especially, they don't actually know what their characters are doing. And so I would just ask, okay, no matter if you're from Genshin, no matter if you're from TOF, no matter if you're from anywhere, dude, please, please, please do the homework that is necessary so that your audience really truly is able to understand how this game is formatted. Again, this is a game that I just feel like as we get into more content, we even are starting to see the bosses. Like today, guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you, on stream, right? On twitch.tv/Zoxaskun, shameless plug. I realized today in the hologram, as we went up to level 2 for one of the bosses start staggering when they're going to go and give you the parry opportunity. So it becomes more layered the deeper you get into the game. It is not as simple as just clicking, right? You actually have to understand timing. And the only way that that's possible, from what I just showcased, I'm having a whole conversation, but I'm aware the entire time of what I'm doing. That just comes from practice. And it doesn't mean, like, again, I'm not the best player. If you want to like look at the best player, go watch Rexlin. But I will say that I'm going to be always super informed, just because I'm going to try to make sure that I'm always staying on top of making sure that I understand what I'm saying before I actually put it out there. And again, guys, this is all about the transparency of me wanting to see this game do well. And I think it's fair to say, if there's going to be a ton of narratives being put out that this game is a certain way, it's also fair to put out my opinions and thoughts to defend it. And again, guys, I really honestly hope and just really pray that you guys take the time necessary to fully play the game. I've been seeing so many reviews where it's only been 2 and 3 and 5 hours put into the game, or it's only been day 1, or you haven't hit Union level 20, or you haven't hit Union level 27 to unlock the Elysium realm, to see how much more the game gets expansive, or you're not at Union level 30 yet, where you actually then start to do co-op and you actually get to see how smooth co-op can actually be. There's a lot of things that I notice players are just not getting from certain creators, and I will say you are truly doing your community a disservice by doing that. So please make sure that you guys take the opportunity to check out content. Not me, I'm not even just saying me, but content of individuals that are really honestly pouring the time into the game to give you a well-rounded opinion. Hey, if at the end of that you still feel the same, I think that that's a fair take, right? That's your opinion. But if it's going in and you haven't even really touched the surface or scratched the surface of the game, that just becomes a little unfair, and it is very misleading in my opinion. So that's just my take, guys. Again, this isn't anything that I'm not trying to be malicious, but I am very passionate, and I really do love what Kuro has been cooking up for this game, and I think it's extremely well thought out. It's way better than what they did for CBT1 to CBT2, and I think it's just being honest and transparent about that. The game absolutely needs work in many of different ways, but by no shot is this game just a clone, and by no shot is it a game that doesn't have any actual combat understanding and or scaling. This is simply, and this is going to be one of the things that I leave this video off with, it's a skill issue, and it's time to get good. So that's all I got to say. Definitely make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you want more breakdowns, if you want more reactions, gameplay, that's what I'll actually be doing here. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time out. Oh, and also one other thing, I do voice act a little bit. So if you want to see some voice acting, make sure you come through, you know, but either way, man, I really appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch. And like I said, guys, please make sure that you guys really give Wuthering Waves a full chance, especially as we inch closer to the official release of the game. So that's going to be that, guys. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.